You are correct. No love for the AFL buffo. More a rugby union fan, if anything. But unfortunately, that is also off at the moment, so... Alright, let's do this. Nice. Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Achilles 27's list for Green-White Maverick. Just with a few changes that we've made to the main deck and sideboard, just to kind of move with the meta and how it's looking post-Breach now. So one thing that we did change was actually moving Gadok Teague to the sideboard. Teague's in a pretty interesting spot right now. I don't know if it's really that good, which is pretty devastating to say. I think Gadok Teague's always been one of the best silver bullets that Maverick has, and a really good reason why Green Sun Zenith is just so powerful that it can go and get something like Gadok Teague, which traditionally has been awesome. You know, against Miracles, it turns off Jace, Terminus, Entreat the Angels, you know, Supreme Verdict. Against the combo decks, you know, it used to turn off all, if not most of, if not all, of the win cons of Ant. So things like Empty the Warrens, Past in Flames, Tendrils, Ad Nauseam. Gadok Teague was a house, and because of recent printings, a lot of the combo decks have moved away from that. A lot of the, you know, Planeswalkers that we're seeing in Legacy right now are 3-drops into Fairy or Oko. Jace seeing a little bit of play, but I think Oko is definitely sort of the premier Planeswalker right now, which is kind of tough. So for that, we actually moved the Hexdrinker to the main deck. I still really like Collector Ouphe in the main deck, hitting all the Stoneforge Mystic decks, the LED decks, the Astrolabe decks. It's really good. It's really powerful. We also play against a bunch of Karn decks online, so turning off the keys and Grim Monoliths are really nice as well. We do run our own Stoneforge Mystic package of Jitte and Batterskull, so a pretty light splash in the scheme of things. And usually if we have both Jitte and Collector Ouphe in play, we're probably winning that game anyway, so I'm not too scared of not having, you know, sort of the synergy there, but I think that's okay. I do like the main deck Prelate. I think Prelate's really strong in this deck. I really like the second one on the sideboard as well. It's great against a few fair decks where, a few combo decks where naming something like 2 can be really good. Against a lot of the Loam decks, you know, turning off Life on Loam and punishing Fire and Chalice for 1 on when Prelate's on 2 is really nice. And this deck also has the ability to push it out early with Mana Dorks, which is nice. This deck is only playing 3 Green Sun, but I think it's because we really wanted to make room for that 4th Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time has been pretty nice in this deck, not just as a card in the opening hand, but also a card that just in the late game can turn into the threat that you want or the land that you need. Which is really nice. So there's a few times where we just needed to dig for a Wasteland, and we got there, which is really nice. It is really good with Fairy Macabre, especially against something like Reanimator. You can dig, you know, the extra 5 cards to try to find Fairy Macabre if your opponent tries to go all in on turn 1. But we are playing Leyline still. I still think Leyline's pretty good. Turning off the full graveyard as a resource for your opponent is really strong, and I think it's okay. It's pretty sweet. We do actually have the ability to cast them because of Birds of Paradise and Scryb Ranger. We can actually untap Bird and create 2 black and cast a Leyline if we need to, but otherwise we'll see how that goes. I also added in 2 Force of Vigor. I took out the Sword of Light and Shadow in the sideboard and the Nissa Vital Force, mainly because I think we have pretty good matchups against the white and black decks, so I'm not too sure if we need the sword right now. It can also be good against some of the bolt decks by turning your 2/2s into 4/4s, which gives it, you know, pro red pretty much. And the Nissa, I wasn't too sure what the Nissas were for, but they do seem really good in the grindy matchups, but I'm pretty happy just having Gideon and Elspeth to make room for the forces. So that should be pretty good. We have a little bit for everything in regards to matchups, which is nice, so we'll just get straight into it and see how it goes. I do like this this mono green primetime deck that's seeing play. It looks really sweet. There's a few lists online. Most are pretty similar just because it's quite a new deck, so people are trying to stick with kind of a stock list and then make changes as you play a few leagues or tournaments with it. He plays the new Dryad. which is really cool. This guy here, it plays Valakut as well, which is pretty funny. And then it's just really nice to have pretty much perfect mana after this guy comes in. And a 2/4 body is pretty nice as well. It blocks a lot of things, and it doesn't die to bolt, which is pretty huge. All right, we are up against Elabro on the play. This is an interesting hand. Obviously pretty good against the FedEx, but otherwise it's not the best. I think this is most likely a mulligan. I don't really want to have both swords, and the Batterskull is pretty much a 6. So other than a turn 1 Dryad Arbor for, Green Suns for Dryad Arbor early on, this hand isn't doing too much. So I'm going to mulligan this. This is a lot better, and pretty much near perfect. I'm going to keep this. I think I'm going to bottom the second Hierarch because we already have one. We also have Once Upon a Time to find the second land. And in case we need removal, we have Swords to Plowshares. So let's put down Noble Hierarch. Red Foothills, interesting. Noble, okay. So this could be something like Infect. And I wonder if I want this once to be countered or not. I think because I haven't found a second land source on this draw step, I want to play this land first, just to play around days on this Once Upon a Time. Canopy's pretty nice here. We'll go for Canopy. Now I'm pretty happy to fetch for a Savannah and go for Noble Hierarch. I could go after their mana if I really wanted to with Swords Plowshares, but I think I'm pretty happy here just keeping the swords for something like Blooded Agent. Hey Echo, welcome to the stream. Infect can be a pretty tough matchup. Sylvan Library, of course, is a really good card to have. But I assume Trop into Noble is Infect in most players' minds. It could be some sort of banned version of Maverick as well. There have been a few banned versions popping up, but Ponder kind of gives away that this is going to be most likely Infect. Which is pretty fun. Usually it's a pretty interactive deck. They can just have it, but having a pretty good hand here with Thalia, Prelate, and Swords is really nice. Savannah, interesting. Blighted Agent, okay. So unfortunately we can't Swords with Thalia out. But I think here we just want to go Swords into Thalia. Sylvan Library is pretty nice as well. If the Swords resolves, maybe I need to dig pretty fast for another removal spell. But I think we'll see how this one works out. Force pitching days. Okay, well that makes me definitely want to play. That's an interesting one. So playing Library here allows us to hopefully dig for another removal spell on Swords Plowshares. Thalia means that next turn we can't cast both Swords Plowshares and Sylvan Library if we draw it. Prelate for one is pretty nice against Infect, but it does turn off our own Swords to Plowshares, which is a little bit rough. I think just because our opponent can win pretty quickly with Blighted Agent, the Thalia probably isn't going to do a whole lot. The Sylvan Library is probably the correct play because if I play Thalia this turn, then I'm pretty much tapping out for Sylvan Library next turn, and I'm probably just not going to get there, even if they have one pump spell a turn, so I think I'm okay with Library here. Brainstorm, most likely, either they have a fetch land or they're just looking to kill me this turn, which is pretty rough. Invigorate is a pretty good card. Pretty good for us when we have Sylvan Library in play, but otherwise not the greatest outcome for us, usually if they're casting it. Deafening Silence is a great card to bring in actually from the sideboard. Deafening Silence is nice because if they ever go to pump something, then we can actually just get there by interesting. By removing the creature in response to the pump spell. Invigorate and Berserk. Alright. Sideboarding is going to be interesting. I definitely like the Deafening Silences. I like taking out Collector Ouphe. I like taking out Ooze, and I like taking out Questing Beast. Batterskull's interesting. Sometimes I like taking out Batterskull because I really just want to fetch for Jitte with Stoneforge Mystic, and I don't really want to draw Batterskull either. I could see a Force of Vigor because of Inkmoth Nexus. They might also play Sylvan Library. Maybe this is fine. Chalice is also interesting, but a lot of the time it's going to be hurting us a lot more than them, especially if we can only cast it for one. I was thinking about cutting Batterskull, but is there really a better card? Prelate's interesting. Collector Ouphe does nothing. Elspeth isn't really the matchup where we want it. Same with Gideon. Gadok really probably hurts us a lot more with Force of Vigor and Green Suns. Gadok really only stops Force of Will and Become Immense. Leyline isn't needed. I'm going to try out this list and we'll see how we go. And if there is a third game, we can reassess Batterskull, but sometimes it's nice just to have the beatdown effect. Maybe we'll go the second Force. Force is probably a card I want to see early on, especially if they have an Inkmoth Nexus start or a Sylvan Library start. So I don't mind having two in the deck because then at least we most likely will see one throughout the match. Yeah, Polar Beach, 100%. 100%. Would love to play first. And this hand is pretty good. We'll keep this. Pretty happy to try to find a Wasteland of this Once Upon a Time. Windswept, okay. Now I'm pretty happy just to use this Windswept Heath here. There's no reason to use it otherwise. With Sylvan Library, we're most likely just drawing 8 anyway, so I don't really need the shuffle effect. And it does just get a Savannah out of the deck, which is nice. I guess we could keep it if we want a Dryad Arbor. Which, if they start with a Glistener Elf and no Noble Hierarchs, maybe we want it. Once Upon a Time is pretty cool because it definitely has an upside on both ends. So finding the lands that we need or the creatures. It also makes your mulligans a lot easier as well. I think I'm happy just to go with Thalia. Although Knight is enticing, I'd rather try to slow them down a little bit with. Yeah, it is quite nice. I'm definitely more happier to keep one-landers with Once Upon a Time. Yeah, Daze is an interesting one, and I feel like it's a case-by-case, and if the player wants to keep it in on the player on the draw. Seeing that Thalia was a fine play, especially on the play on this turn, even though we had the extra mana, we can still get in an attack, and the Knight can just come down next turn. Swords, interesting. Probably playing around Karakas there just to get it out of the way. But at least now we can Force of Vigor. I'm gonna take the hit and just keep up Noble as a blocker as well. I think you just want to block with Hierarch. I don't really want to lose the Knight. And if they have something like, you know, Invigorate Berserk, then that's going to be fine. I'm just kind of making them have it, so it looks like they definitely do. Rough one. Path to Exile can be pretty good out of the board for these sort of decks as well. It's also okay against Delver, but sometimes giving the mana away can be a little bit against what Maverick tries to do with its mana denial plan as well. But for cases like that, it's great to have the extra removal, because I'd much rather my opponent have a basic forest than a Glistener Elf. But yeah, Infect a deck that locally there's a few players that play it, and usually they play it pretty well as well. It's definitely a competitive deck in the right hands. Tom Ross, of course, pretty well known for the deck. Yeah, I've seen no basics. I've also seen someone get pretty upset because their Infect opponent had 2 basics in the deck. I think they're like ancient. They Assassin trophied like a tropical island, and then when their opponent got the second basic out, they're like, "You play 2 basics? What is this?" Which is pretty funny. Hey, Bernhards, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? I'm a huge fan of basics, so any deck that can play basics, I'm all in for it, but there are some greedy ones. Hey, HG Butt, welcome to the stream. Just went down pretty quickly to Infect, which is pretty rough, but there were some good turns in the games. We will definitely be on the play. This one really relies on the Sylvan Library coming down. I don't mind this hand. I think this hand is fine, but I'd probably rather have one with, you know, Noble Hierarchs and Thalias. There's a lot of pretty bad top decks once we, you know, turn 3 we can Green Suns. I think the worst case as well is just drawing an extra land. So I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. Maybe get a little bit more aggressive with my mulligans in this league. And this is pretty tough. It's a turn 1 mum, and then we have swords. I can't keep that. This has the extra land, which is nice. I'm gonna keep this because I don't want to drop any more. I'm gonna drop Qasali because it is more of a silver bullet. And then sadly it might be the Knight. The Knight at least we can find with the Green Suns. The swords I want just in case we're up against the Delver deck. And the Sylvan Library is probably going to get us back in this game. So I'm going to drop the Knight. If my opponent's on a fast deck as well, they might just think we're on Death and Taxes if we don't find a green source, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I'm finding a lot of blue decks are just playing a lot of really good spells and then playing like full 4 Force of Will, 2 Force Negation to make sure that they all stick. Polluted Delta. An Oko deck. Interesting. Hey, Zell2690. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Bernhard's currently looking at picking up Maverick again. Was my first Legacy deck, but haven't played it for many years. Interesting. There's someone else in the Discord who just picked up Legacy Maverick after a few little whiles. Green Suns. Well, I definitely want to make the land drop. And then just 6, unfortunately. Don't really want to attack with Mum. To be fair, they might not have... I guess Swords to Plowshares might be their only real removal between sort of CMC 1 and CMC 3. So if you wanted to get aggressive, I could see an attack with Mum there. But because it's really the only thing we have going on right now, I'm pretty happy at keeping it at bay. Ugh. That's pretty rough. This might even just be Storm if they're going for Green Suns there. So Windswept is nice. I'm just gonna get a basic. We'll go for a Savannah, and we'll just hold up swords as well. And then Brainstorm Preordained Thoughtseize most likely means this is a combo deck, so I might as well attack with Mum. I don't think there's a real reason not to. And if they're on something like an Adnor's plan, then the extra 1 damage can actually come into effect. Black-Red seems really strong. I think Black-Red's a really good play for a meta that's just been shaken up by a ban. Squadron Hawk seems pretty sweet as well. Ha, not gonna lie. Alright. This could also be Doomsday. I'm gonna assume not if we saw Cabal Ritual. Sadly, this is death. At least we know what we're playing against, which is nice. Deafening Silence, Prelate, Teague, Chalice. I don't think Leyline's worth it, but we'll see what we bring in. Okay. Swords can definitely come out. I'm happy to drop a Wasteland as well. Batterskull can be nice, especially if they go for empty early on. I like to have it in the deck. Questing Beast can come out. We're definitely bringing in Deafening Silence. We're definitely bringing in Chalice. Gadok's great. Prelate's great. So that's a nice switch there. I don't know if it's worth also bringing in the Ley Lines. Seeing that they only really stop Past in Flames lines, and Deafening Silence, Prelates, Gaea really stops that anyway. Force of Vigor is interesting. Sometimes the Storm players will actually play out their artifact mana to play around Thalia. So sometimes you can force an LED, but I'm not too sure if we'll be able to get that lucky. I think I'm happy with these 6, and then we'll see how that goes. Everything else kind of has its place. Mum's really nice still at keeping the creatures in play. Hey, Ari, I went down to Infect with white, which is interesting. Thalia got swordsed. May she rest in peace. But yeah, some pretty quick games thanks to Berserk, unfortunately. This hand is interesting. It doesn't really have much. It's a 1-lander. We do have Nobles, and we do have a Chalice for 0. So we do have some pretty good... We do have a good turn 1, but outside of that, it's not really doing much. Chalice on 0 also kind of makes Qasali Pridemage pretty null and void, so I think I'm pretty happy mulliganing once, maybe to Deafening Silence, or Thalia. They're the 2 cards I'm really looking for. I just don't think this does enough. It does beat down pretty well, because you get to go turn 1, Noble Hierarch, turn 2, maybe Qasali Pridemage, and then turn 3 we can start attacking for 5 with Qasali. But this is pretty much a 6 with the Batterskull in hand. Yeah, I'm wondering if the white was also playing Teferi, because Teferi is pretty strong in a deck that, obviously, you don't want your opponent doing anything in your turn. I'm going to mulligan this. I think we can get a better hand. And this is probably it. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to bottom... The Green Suns is nice, because we can get Collector Ouphe. So maybe it's Prelate that I don't really want. Unless Prelate's really nice. I think it's the Knight. Because at least we can beat down anyway with these creatures, so... Knight's also a 4 of in the deck, so we're most likely going to see it more or less more often than the other cards that we drop here. Yeah, I could definitely see it for Rest in Peace as well. That's a pretty good one from the sideboard. Just a pass. I think if they pass here, I'm pretty happy just going Prelate for 1. I think because Teague answers all the game-winning effects, and Green Suns is pretty much for Collector Ouphe, that pretty much answers 0, and Gaea Teague answers anything above 1, so... I don't mind 1, just because it also turns off any other ponders or ways to get into removal for the Prelate. It just gives us a bit of time as well. I think 1 is the big one for setup, but... I think if I went 2 there as well, I wouldn't be too unhappy either. 2 just stops... not much from us. Massacre's pretty good. Yeah, I was considering Teague, but I thought that if they have a bounce effect, they most likely bounce Teague and then try to go off if they do have a fast hand, not Massacre. Empty, okay. Well, there's Batterskull. So we can't really play Teague out because then we can't cast Green Suns or Batterskull. I don't mind Dryad Arbor here, because if we get an extra turn, it can help. So we take 12, go to 6, and then we just take lethal anyway, which is pretty rough. Yeah, Stoneforge would have been great last turn, but unfortunately, yeah, we can block 3, but then still die. Rough. Real rough. Tough. Not too much I could do there. I didn't want to play the Teague because I didn't want to turn off Green Suns, and I didn't think I was going to die to Massacre that turn. I thought it was more likely going to be some sort of removal spell like Decay or maybe a bounce spell. Playing Magic fair is the best way to play because then when you win, it feels so much better. But yeah, two fast combo decks. Sadly, just a little bit too slow. Yeah, Force and Hawk seem like a pretty fun way to play D&T right now. Hawk's just a sweet card because you get so many, and once you have the forces down, the Squadron Hawks is like a 3/3 or even just a 2/2 is pretty good. Alright, hopefully we can turn this around. Yeah, Hawk also a pretty good card against Terminus, of course. Very cool. So if this Once Upon a Time finds a land, a white source, then I'm pretty good. But then the hand isn't doing too much. Turn 1 Mum, and then if these two aren't really doing anything, we're not really looking at anything too good. I'm going to see how it goes. We'll keep this. And just to play around days, I'm going to do this in upkeep. Okay, nice. I'm just going to go for Savannah. I guess we could get Misty, but I guess I shouldn't be worried about Stifle. Hey, Bobmans. Welcome to the stream. Delver, okay. Jitte, okay. Hey, Kath Jews, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Hey, mate. It's good to see a mate in chat. Don't usually see mate. Good morning. Days, okay. Days is pretty rough because if they have the Wasteland, then that's going to be pretty brutal. And I don't think this is really a deck where I want either Qasali Pridemage or Collector Ouphe. They are on Stifle. Interesting. Well, that's kind of scary. Just a little bit. Blue decks? Yeah, blue deck's pretty fun. Not gonna lie. You're from Germany? Okay. Germany's cool. Alright. Let's go for Mum again. And then, I'm not going to play around second days, I'm just going to jam the Hierarch. Okay. It's nice because if the Hierarch gets dazed, it's one of these creatures that isn't. And if it doesn't, then the Hierarch might actually allow me to play around days for the rest of the game on curve. If we draw into another land. Ponder. Okay. I do play Death and Taxes a little bit online. I've played like Loam decks. I want to actually get into just Blue-Red Delver. I think Blue-Red Delver is a pretty sweet deck to stream. And I do have it in paper. I've played Depths decks in past as well. Mainly green-white and green-black Depths, but not the turbo variant. But I think Loam decks would be pretty fun right now, especially with Uro in the format. Uro seems pretty sweet. Hey, there we go. That earned a little follow, didn't it? Haha, very cool. Thank you. Alright, so they're holding up Stifle. Green Suns. Green Suns is pretty nice because I can go and get Scryb Ranger. What do they do with Ponder? They chose to shuffle. Okay. Well, I think the best play here is just going for Scryb Ranger because it also gives me an out to this Delver. And I don't really have the time to play around Daze or Spell Pierce. If they're thinking it's... Yeah, okay. Yeah, Uro is pretty expensive right now, especially being in Standard as well. It's pretty rough. Brainstorm, okay. I'm gonna try to get Knight online. I think this Jitte is gonna get online pretty early. We know they have Stifle though, but they might have thrown it away. Chose to shuffle again. Interesting. So I guess a land here would be pretty nice because then we can hopefully get in with Jitte. Wasteland. Wasteland's pretty good. Maybe I should have done this in their turn to play around Force Negation. Brainstorm's fine. Getting the Jitte in play is pretty nice as well, but we'll see how they follow up. Something like True Name would be pretty broken because then we have to actually use Mum each turn. Oko. Oko's pretty good. Interesting. Windswept Heath. I definitely want to use this now. Just gonna get a Plains. Equipping the Jitte kind of means they have to elk the Jitte next turn. So I don't mind doing that. And then Collector Ouphe isn't that bad of a creature just to play out. Probably could have put it on the Dryad Arbor as well, just to get that extra 1 damage in. It also means we can hold up white just to act like we have Swords of Plowshares. Yeah, so I should have attacked with the Dryad Arbor there for 2 with Exalted instead of just the Noble Hierarch. Interesting. This is fine. No attacks is pretty interesting. So we can pump this once. And if they have Stifle, we can do it again. I think I like the attack more with the food there, because it might even force me to use Mother of Runes. Lightning Bolt. I think we'll just definitely get protection here, even though they can then just steal with Oko. I could also just kill this in response to them trying to trade something. They might try to like cast a creature and then trade it for Mum, but we can just I guess we can kill the Mum anyway with Jitte. We don't have to make them do it in response to the trade. Interesting. I think it's a lot of good decks. It really depends on how players react to the Breach ban. And if they take out a bunch of combo hate, then Doomsday is really good. Doomsday is just really nice as well because it looks like there's a lot of really smart players on it as well. Interesting. Dismembering the Mum. That is fine. We can't do anything. Might as well just gain life here. How do you ban someone? Thought I'd never say that on my stream. Spam. I guess if they have bolt, they can just bolt the Jitte in response to anything, but let's see what happens here. I think I'd rather just attack with everything at Oko than get the Exalted on one creature. Because if we attack with just the Jitte and they bolt it in response to the Exalted creatures, then Oko just stays at 7. But at least now we can still play Knight and play it around days. I thought I did have a moderator bot. Maybe it's left me. I feel like it's left me. Elking the Knight, that is fine. Just passing, okay. Screws would be kind of a nice draw. Batterskull. I think we just attack here. They could have Brazen Borrower on one creature, so we might as well attack with pretty much everything. Attack Oko, attack Oko, attack Oko. Especially if they have like Bolt and Brazen Borrower, I want to make sure it's dead. Yeah, the issue with two creatures is that if... I just want to make sure it gets off the field. That's the big thing. Happy to play Ouphe as just a 2/2. And then pass. Nothing. Interesting. I guess they could... No, they're probably not playing Uro. Just a pass, wow. Windswept. Alright. Spell Pierce is fine. Oko is fine. We still have what looks to be lethal. Yeah, because they only have one card in hand, so they can only deal with, say, 1/3/3. I don't want to actually show that I have this. I don't want to cast it now and just, like, say, name one. Attack them, attack them, attack them, attack them, attack them. Nice, okay. Delver. Delver. Shifting Ceratop seems pretty nice. Batterskull is interesting. I think we can take out Pridemage. Probably take out Collector Ouphe as well. I still like my Mana Dorks. I still like the Once Upon a Times. Scavenging Ooze is great in the late game. I could see myself just dropping the equipment package altogether because of Oko and just going for Planeswalkers instead. Maybe Planeswalkers are better. What would it look like? Let's have a... What would it look like? In like 2 Chalice? But Chalice is pretty good for us. Is it? Chalice for us really only stops Swords to Plowshares. I don't think Chalice is where we want to be on the draw. I think just because Stoneforge can win games, it's worth keeping in. I'm going to go down on a Thalia on the draw. And especially because we're bringing in 2 pretty big creatures. Oh, Planeswalkers, sorry. And then I might even just go down on a once. And just try to keep these Haymakers around. Because Elspeth, of course, is a great answer for Oko. Because you can make your dude bigger than theirs and fly over the top of their elk creatures. So this looks fine. This sounds pretty great. We'll keep this. I think just planes here off the Windswept is fine while they're tapped out. It's also a land they can't Wasteland, so they can't like dismember our mum and then Wasteland us. So let's go for planes and then play mum. Days, okay. No flip. Interesting. I think without Mum there, Hexdrinker just gets a little bit worse because our opponent can just bolt it in response to ticking it up to the last little bit. Sav. I don't want to play in the Stifle. I am going to give Stifle the respect it might deserve here. And just play out Thalia. Spell Snare, okay. Good to know they're playing Spell Snare at least. Still no flip, okay. I don't usually. I think Spell Snare kind of ran out of favor, but I think it is a very good card. Second Delve is pretty rough because it is quite a good clock. I could play around Stifle if I wanted to, but I'm going to not play around Stifle here. I'm just going to go for Hexdrinker. I think because Green Suns is going to go for Scryb Ranger, I don't mind playing Hexdrinker out here because if it gets bolted, it's Scryb Ranger that's not getting bolted. Alright. Delvers are flipping. Ha! That's kind of a necessity now. Wait, are they not flipping? Surely. What? Did they just not find an instant or sorcery? Interesting. This might just be Oko. Staticaster. That's pretty good. Staticaster also doesn't play around... I want the Canopy, so I don't want to run this into Wasteland, so I'm just going to play the Karakas here. And then Green Suns for Scryb Ranger, because at least Scryb Ranger can't be hit by Izzet Staticaster either. Wow. So now they really need Bolt. Goyf. Okay, Goyf's pretty good. And another Delver. Okay. That's kind of scary. So the Elspeth is really just dead here. Once Upon a Time doesn't do too much because I'm really looking for... I mean, I could try to race with Elspeth, but that's probably not happening. Alright. Make a play. Go for Elspeth. Tick up on Scryb, and we'll start getting in. We can untap itself, so which is nice, so... Tokens is pretty rough in the face of Staticaster, unfortunately. I'll probably rather see Gideon in this spot. No flip! Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous. We'll see if they actually attack. Because the Scryb Ranger cannot block itself. Just the Tarmogoyf. Interesting. So what I can do here is actually fetch up Dryad Arbor, and then if they try to hit it with Izzet Staticaster, we can just return it to our hand. It's part of the cost as well, so they can't really do anything. So here we can untap Scryb, return this. And because it's part of the cost, they can't Wasteland in response. So we're just going to take this, unfortunately, but... It does at least make them tap the Izzet Staticaster. Grafdigger's Cage. That's fine. Just don't draw Green Suns. Tarmogoyf, okay. Definitely going wide. Gideon, okay. Nice. I don't mind Gideon ulti, because then it saves the Dryad Arbor from Izzet Staticaster. It still dies to Wasteland, but at least the Scryb Ranger will trade for a Delver. They have no cards in hand as well. Interesting. Let's go for Dryad Arbor. Let's go for Gideon. Let's just go for Emblem. And then make a Elspeth token. Do we see a flip? Hey, there we go. There we go. Brainstorm's fine. Attacking us. Interesting. So let's untap this, return the Savannah. And then see if they Wasteland this in response. They probably should. Or else then we can go to blocks and actually save 4 life. Dismember. Okay. And now we're just dead. Dead to rights. Alright. Do I want to board differently? I think I'm pretty happy with the list. The Elspeth and Gideon are iffy, but seeing that they play Staticaster, I'm pretty happy to have Gideon in the deck. I don't mind keeping the third Thalia out of the deck, seeing that we did see that Staticaster as well, so I might just run this back. Once Upon a Time has been pretty nice. Once Upon a Time has been really nice with mulligan decisions. It's made me keep a few more hands where I could be aggressive, which is nice. This hand's fine. I'm going to keep this. But I'll probably fetch straight away. I'm just going to get a plains and then pass. Because if my opponent plays a Delver and then dazes the swords, I'm more than happy to jam the Sylvan Library. I also have the option here of just untap Wasteland and then Swords to Plowshares, which is pretty nice. Which I think I'm happy to do. I might even just play around that one, like if they play one off Force Negation, I might as well do this in their upkeep. Could see what they reveal as well, but probably should have seen what if they revealed. Wasteland, okay. That is fine. Alright, this Windswept Heath can still get both basics, so I'm going to use the Verdant Catacombs to get a basic here. Forest into Sylvan Library. Yeah, Sylvan Library's got a pretty big force target on its head because if they're not forcing that, then we're just going to get so far ahead in card advantage, especially when they don't have a threat on board right now. If we get to untap, fetch, and play Knight, it'll be a 6/6 as well, which plays around Dismember, which is pretty nice. Knight would be one thick boy. This has always been a pretty fun matchup. It's a really good match online of Maverick versus Rug Delver, back when it played Nimble Mongoose. with Thomas. I have it here. I'm going to find it for you guys. Here it is. No, that's not it. Oh, it is that one, yeah. Thomas Herzog and Ben Weinberg. Probably my favorite streamed match of Magic. Very cool match. Really, really good. Wow, just a pass. Okay, well, now we have a great play. Windswept. Fetch. Doesn't really matter what we get. I don't mind if we get Wastelanded. Wow, double Wasteland, rough. Well... Jitte's pretty good. Yeah. Unfortunate. Unfortunate for my opponent. But luckily for us, we are finally on the board. Which is a pretty nice feeling. Especially against Delver. Delver can be pretty tricky. Especially when we only have those 4 swords that it can take a bit of time to find. Yeah, it's a nice one. It's one that I usually watch maybe like once every... Not year. I'm not going to say it's an annual viewer. But pretty close. Alright. In we go. Palmerston. Interesting. This hand's pretty solid. And I think I'm happy just to keep it. The greenskins can find Gadok Teague or... Actually, the Green Suns can only find Collector Ouphe against the unfair decks because we have Gadok Teague in the sideboard, so I still don't mind this hand. It definitely has a plan to it, which is nice. Interesting. Yeah, that sucks. It definitely sucks when your opponent gets salty. It doesn't make it a great experience, but... Yeah, I feel like the Preordain kind of gives away that it is some sort of combo deck. We'll see what happens. Turn 1 Forest into Noble, and I went turn 1... Mox Land Smallpox, very nice. Very nice. Chose not to shuffle, that's kind of interesting. Maybe they drew something and then they want to shuffle everything else away. Okay, another Ponder isn't too bad. Hopefully this means we can just land this Thalia, unless they just start playing LEDs and Lotus Petals. Okay. It's always nice to untap. Let's go with Wasteland into Thalia. And then I'm not sure if they have a main deck way to deal with Thalia, so I could just attack here with the Mum. I'm going to attack with the Mum, because even if they spend their turn dealing with Thalia, we can then Green Suns for Collector Ouphe, which is just as good. And the extra 1 life could be pretty detrimental if they are on Adnors. Infernal Tutor, okay. Cabal Writ. Interesting. I think Wasteland's probably our best draw. Once upon a time. Probably just want to play Stoneforge and Wasteland them, getting Batterskull. Slow, but... Unless Jitte is just as good. Jitte means we can probably also get it down if we draw into Cradle. Definitely attacking with both. I like being aggressive with Mum in this matchup, especially in game 1. Not so much game 2. Actually, Batterskull seems a little bit better. Just because if we're wasting this turn, we're not playing the Jitte next turn anyway. Another tutor, interesting. Just trying to get Cabal Writs, okay. Well, now we really need something pretty good. Green Suns. I think his holding up Batterskull is fine. I could also Green Suns for a Mana Dork to make sure we can Green Suns the following turn for something like Collector Ouphe, but I feel like right now just going for Batterskull is fine. I could also try to once for Wasteland. The only issue with Arbor for... the Green Suns cost 2 for Arbor, just because of the Thalia. We have played this land for turn as well, so we can't actually once for Wasteland. That's incorrect. I think Batterskull's just the plan here, and then next time we swing for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nine if we get Dryad Arbor. Interesting. I guess they can still cast Cabal Therapy and they get 2 more... sorry, Cabal Ritual, and they still get 2 more Storm triggers, so that makes a lot of sense. Surely we don't get a turn. We have to be dead, or else I think it's just a little bit too far for my opponent to get there. Alright, there's 1 Cabal. Here comes 2nd Cabal. Hey, Ivo Miniskui. I wish I could say your name correctly. Interesting. Tendrils just to buy some time. Huh. Putting in the bin. Interesting. Alright, let's get out Dryad Arbor. And we'll also put in Batterskull. Yeah, I think it most likely means they have... I guess we can try to Green Suns for Ooze, but then we need an extra land unless you draw Cradle. Wasteland would be nice. Ugh. Five, 6, 7, 8. Put them down to 11. And then next turn we can just win if we play Hexdrinker. No, we need the extra mana. That's rough not hitting a land. I really thought we would. I'm going to go with Knight. Cradle's our best draw. Because Cradle can at least just go and get Questing Beast, and then we have Lethal. I guess Sanctum Prelate wouldn't be too bad either. They chose to shuffle off the Ponder, which is great for us, and they also missed a land drop. Jitte doesn't change anything. Yeah, I can't get Ooze yet, unfortunately. I can play Knight, though. At least Knight just means it's a win next turn anyway, so... I wonder if it actually matters if I attack with Mum here or not. That we taking 7, going down to 4. I'm happy keeping Mum back, just in case there's some sort of shenanigans, but... I don't think we're dead because my opponent did shuffle with their Ponder and didn't play a land. So I feel like they're missing out on the extra mana they need to actually get Past in Flames online. But we get to see this turn. Yeah, Breach was pretty good. Breach was such a luxury to have around. And now that it's gone, you just got to go back through the... Ah, interesting. Are they going to Thoughtseize themselves or Thoughtseize us? Thoughtseize us, okay. Yeah, it does. Just seeing what we had. Alright. Sideboarding. Swords. Beast. Silence. Teague. Prelate. Chalice. Wasteland. Once. Oh, that's 60. Interesting. Yeah, the Leyline's interesting. I think we're pretty good on hate for Leyline against Storm, which is pretty good because a lot of our disruption hits a lot of things that they want to put in the bin anyway. So I feel like these 6 are more than fine in regards to hate we're bringing in. But you never know. You never know. This will be interesting. This is a great hand. This is a fantastic hand. Multiple ways of disruption. I guess like a turn 1 Thoughtseize and then go off turn 2 would be pretty rough. Never GG, unfortunately. However, my opponent has mulligan to 5. So I feel like even if they do have a Thoughtseize turn to take Deafening Silence, then they probably don't have the rest of the cards to actually make it to turn 2. But I could be very wrong. Well, now I'm pretty happy. One top, one bottom, okay. It's Ogre? Did you mean to say it's over? Ponder's fine. See what they do with the Ponder. Chose not to shuffle. Interesting. I'm just gonna go with Thalia here. Because at least somebody can still cast Green Suns. And especially when they're down on so many... They're down low on cards, I want to be able to hit their mana pretty hard. To make sure, even though they're only casting one spell on their turn, they can't then cast a spell in our turn as well. That's fine. Now I might play Gadok Teague just in case they have Massacre. That'd be pretty brutal. Interesting. At least if they have Echoing Truth, they have to respond to the Collector Ouphe by sacking this. Just gonna get Batterskull. There's a world where I die to Gadok Teague here being bounced and then just getting hit with Massacre. I think bounce on Teague is the big thing we're kind of scared about. But it looks like they didn't float the mana that they needed off Lotus Petal in response to the Collector Ouphe, and now they can't cast anything. Kind of rough. Alright, luckily we have crawled back to a 2-2, and we can play for the 3-2 in the last game. Oof. Yeah, tough for them. You got a Pape Massacre? Pape? Very cool. Do you have a photo? It'd be kind of cool to see. So we went down to Infect. Infect, Ant. Infect, Ant. Rug Delver, Ant. Alright. This hand is interesting. I don't know what my opponent is on. I feel like this probably is a mulligan, but drawing into a white source, which is pretty high on the list. There's definitely more in the deck than anything else. This could turn out really well, but it also could be pretty poor if we miss on our first 2 draws. The second Thalia kind of makes this just a 6. And I think I'd keep this on a 6 anyway. I'm going to see how this plays out. There's just a high upside. Probably want to see a blue land. Prismatic Vista. Interesting. Maybe some form of miracles. Prelate. Not what we want to see. Yeah, that's pretty much a blue land. Okay. So I can run something into Counterspell. Ugh. Maybe I don't want to run something into Counterspell. I just want to pass with Scryb Ranger up. Leovold. Interesting. Leovold's pretty good against the Sylvan Library. They're going to force it. Interesting. Maybe they think we have a reason to... That's an interesting one. Maybe they thought we have a way to get rid of the Leovold? Yeah, sadly can't play Thalia with the mana base we currently have. Haha! Rough. Definitely punished. I guess I can attack and then replay the forest, but it's fine. Come on, white source. Kind of. Drown in the Lock? Snapcaster. Brainstorm? Okay. I guess I want to get Birds of Paradise because if my opponent plays Plague Engineer in the main deck, then I don't want them naming Human on the Noble Hierarch. I want them naming Bird. Alright. I'm going to see if they run into this, and if they do, then I'll untap. Sadly, even though this is looking to be a 4-color, most likely just bug, but it could definitely be a 4-color deck, It could just run back to basics, looking at the mana base, which is pretty absurd. Even Blood Moon. Haha! God card. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on no one. This is an interesting one. Shifting Ceratops seems really strong. Gideon seems okay. Probably more so Elspeth, but I like Gideon because I'm probably more scared of Plague Engineer than Oko. Swords I don't mind dropping. Thalia is okay. Wasteland could probably go down. Maybe the second Prelate is fine. I have no idea what the mana base is, but it looks like it has a lot of basics, which is interesting. Yeah, I definitely jinxed it. But cool play from them. Definitely not keeping this. And this hand's okay. See how this once goes. I think we'll bottom the Pridemage. I don't mind Windswept here. At least it pumps the Knight as well. I'm just gonna try to get Knight down. Definitely the highest upside. There could be a Bolt deck, but we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen any red, so... I guess there could be a Fatal Push deck as well, which we did see. Decay's gonna be fine. Plains. Well, now I just like going for Thalia, and then next time we can play Shifting Ceratops and give it haste. Plague Engineer does change all of this, but I think that's fine. If they have Engineer, they have Engineer. Astrolabe, okay. They could be playing Dead of Winter, which does cost an extra 1, but if they have another source, it does kill everything. Brainstorm for 2 mana, it's fine here. Yeah, we played against the Stypho Pile-ish deck last stream, but they weren't on Punishing Fire, which is pretty interesting. I guess they could have Fatal Push here for the Shifting Ceratops. Ponder, okay. Still just basics, but Wasteland's not doing a whole heap here. We still have Questing Beast in the deck. Could have played a land, probably should have played a land, but hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. Okay. Looks like Ceratops was just a little bit of a too good. Little bit of a too good. Little bit of a game breaker, which is nice. Very good card. Especially the Pro Blue. Can't be blocked by Ice Fang Codal, can't be O-Code, can't be countered, can't be blocked by Snapcaster Mage. I think I'm happy going down on another Wasteland here. And probably bringing in... maybe the Force. I don't mind going after their mana if I can and trying to hit their Astrolabes. It's just annoying because, of course, the Astrolabes... maybe just Collector Ouphe is enough to try to hit the Astrolabes. Hexdrinker is pretty nice. It hasn't been the best against the decks we've played against, but it can be really good. Especially in this deck with Cradle, I think it's probably where its home is. But you never really know sometimes, unfortunately. I have space for one card. Maybe it's Elspeth. Elspeth is kind of nice because at least for Plague Engineer, they have to name Soldier, not Human. Elspeth is mainly for the mid-range decks. For the Mirror, it can be pretty good, especially with flying. Against the Oko decks, it's pretty nice because you can turn your 3/3 into just a 6/6 with flying and get over and hopefully kill an Oko, which is kind of cool. Oh, this is okay. I think we'll drop the Dryad Arbor. And then once right now. Probably should have waited. I mean, we could draw a card and then do it. And now that my opponent knows we have Wasteland, they're probably not going to get a duel off this, even though they probably weren't going to anyway. Alright. Counterbalance. Interesting. I'm just going to go for Prelate here on 1. Counterbalance probably doesn't have that too many things to actually trigger on this. We'll see what happens. Polluted Delta, okay. Let's go for 1. Classic. I guess I don't want to run anything into... into Icefang Codal. I don't want to just run the Prelate because they could have pretty easily the right amount of mana to have Death Touch and gain a card here. So I'm just going to play Thalia. I could also once, but this is actually pretty interesting. So I could play the Stoneforge Mystic to start applying a little bit more pressure. I could once here just to find a land drop. Or I could cast Thalia, which puts us a little bit behind. Because if we play Thalia and don't draw a land, we can't even cast the once. I think I'm happy for Stoneforge here. Stoneforge is nice because it's still a proactive play. The once is just a little bit awkward because if we find a land, we can't do anything with the mana. There's the Ice Fang, okay. Cradle is like perfect. What do we want to do? I think Gideon's pretty sweet here. Mostly the least likely thing to get countered either. I'm not too scared of Emblem because of most likely Oko coming down next turn. I'm probably more scared of not being able to go wide and kill Oko. This is fine. Yeah, I think I like getting Jitte online, but I'm not too sure what I want it on. The Gideon is definitely becoming a 5/5. I like this. It also gives us more mana with Cradle. I definitely like going 5 mana. Play Jitte. Equip to the Knight. And then we can also play another Reliquary. Now, even though I kind of want to attack with everything, I don't want to attack with the Prelate. So I'm just going to go attack Oko, attack Oko. They could have actually let this go. I'm going to kill this now, just while it has the damage on it. Leave this around and just pass back. One cool thing I can do is actually activate Gideon, attack with him as a creature, and then pre-combat go and get Karakas, bounce Gideon, and then replay it. Yeah, very cool. Just to get those 2 activations off it. Make him a dude. Activate this. Maybe I want to just go with Once Upon a Time. I could also just put Batterskull on birds. I'm going to see what we find off once. I'm not really looking for anything though, so maybe I do just want to play the Batterskull here. Yeah, I didn't have to tap the birds there. Let's just go all at Oko to get it off the field. I'm not too sure what they could have at instant speed with these colors outside of Fatal Push. Decay's fine. Oko still dies. I guess we really just want a 6 here. Luckily, Counterbalance hasn't done too much. They chose to shuffle as well, so they're obviously missing something. Could have played the Noble for free, and it also would have allowed me to play around Counterbalance a little bit. Looks like it won't matter. Screws is pretty nice. Screws stops Snapcaster Mage. And we know what's on top. Counterbalance hasn't done anything yet. Force. Huh. I guess they can brainstorm into it. Or Ice Fang. Snap. Interesting. Okay. If they're putting Decay on the stack, we should probably just put a Jitte on Gideon. And then if they want to do anything, they can just destroy the Jitte. This way they can't destroy the creature that it's actually attacking with the Jitte. So they can trade with the Snapcaster, and if they want, they can decay the Knight. Or they can decay the Jitte. Yeah, okay. Probably should have also kept the bird untapped again and used the Wasteland, because I'd rather have a blue source, sorry, a green source for Ooze than just a Wasteland up. So that's a pretty big, that's a mistake. But Gideon doing a ton of work. I'm not too sure what their outs are for Gideon, because I'm assuming they're not playing something like Council's Judgment. Hey, White Knight. Hey, HT108. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Another Knight. I don't mind this. And then just attacking with everything. And if they have a snake, they have a snake. Because they have to have more than one blocker this way. Nice. So luckily, down 0-2, we get to come back and finish 3-2, which is kind of nice. Obviously not the result I wanted, but it's definitely nice to lose your first 2 and then come back and win your last 3. Get to open a chest as well, which is kind of nice. Hopefully something nice. Phyrexian Unlive. Rough. Deck was pretty sweet. The deck was pretty good. The Once Upon a Times are interesting because they do take up slots that could be something else. This deck isn't running Tireless Tracker. It's not running Ramanap Excavator. You know, you could just run your 4th Green Suns, your 4th Mother of Runes, and then 2 more green cards to get with Questing Beast. Sorry, to get with Green Sun Zenith, which, you know, for every extra green card or silver bullet you have in the deck, the better Green Sun Zenith gets, which is interesting. But yeah, I think Green White has a lot of play to it. It's definitely a very consistent deck, which is nice, and Once Upon a Time makes it that much more consistent. But sideboard was interesting. I could probably see some changes in regards to having more removal. Things like Path to Exile is pretty good. Tracker would be pretty nice to have, because this deck is only playing 1 Sylvan Library, so it's not used to having the extra card draw. I have played Palace Jailer in Green White Maverick. The issue is that you don't have that extra removal that red and black does, so although you get the crown, you can lose it pretty quickly. Green White does have a pretty bad matchup against other creature decks, because anything that goes wide, you don't really have a great answer. You don't have a Plague Engineer, you don't have a Punishing Fire to recoup every turn. So decks like Elves, you know, Young Pyromancer tokens, Bitter Blossom tokens, they can be pretty rough matchups. So that's the reason that I'm not a big fan of Palace Jailer in Maverick. You just don't really have a way to control the crown like other decks do. But yeah, I could definitely see the number of onces being changed. Library could be Tracker. I do like Library because it sticks around a lot more. It can't be O-Code and against Miracles, which is seeing a little bit more play, at least when I play Legacy it's usually on. It can't be hit. Yeah, I know XJ Cloud was talking about Palace Jail and how he doesn't like it in Death and Taxes, but does Once Upon a Time work as 2 of? Yeah, once could be pretty good. The thing is with Once, it's so good when it's free, so you kind of want to play the full 4 to make sure you get that 39% of it being in your opening hand. So for every version that you drop, you are decreasing your chances to have it in your opening hand. And I think the reason you play it in Maverick is because it makes your mulliganing decisions a lot better. So if you keep like a 1-lander or a 2-lander, or maybe a hand without a threat, you could just keep it with Once, because it's most likely going to find you that. It doesn't always, but it is pretty good at, you know, keeping an okay hand, and it's turning out to be a great hand. Choke would be pretty nice, but we'll see how that goes. That is me. A huge thank you to you guys for coming in. I'll be on tomorrow morning as well, with Green White Black Maverick. So pretty much 13 hours from now will be when I'm going live. And then 24 hours from that, I'll be going live again with Bant Maverick with Dreadhorde 33, which is pretty sweet. So doing the triple stream this weekend. Currently at 987 followers. So every follower helps. Trying to get to 1,000 this weekend, which would be very cool. Ari, you are more than welcome. But yeah, this deck is pretty fun. There's a lot of flex slots that you can play around with. There's a lot of builds you can try to put together. Knight of the North, a huge thank you for the follow. That is one closer. Yeah, if you want to reach out to me on Twitter, you can find me at Dukes on Twitch on Twitter. Let me get that for you. Yeah, Dark Maverick is very good, Onion Lotus. I'm not only a fan of Maverick, but also of your name. You can also find all my videos at YouTube/C/Dukes on Twitch, which is here. Stay safe to you guys as well. I know it's a pretty rough time, so to all of you, I hope you stay safe for the weekend. Hope your families are well. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna see if there's anyone else online and we can raid them, because that's usually a pretty good time. Of course, if you're after any questions on Maverick, you can also check out the greensunzenith.com, which is very cool. Let's find some legacy. I'm gonna quickly go to the Be Right Back screen. Hey Bobs, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. Vintage Cube is pretty good. I'm gonna send you guys over to Squad because Vintage Cube is pretty sweet. Let's go to dashboard. Raid Squad. There we go. Nice. All right. A huge thank you. Enjoy your weekends. Hopefully see some of you tomorrow morning, 10-13 hours. Until then, enjoy Vintage Cube with Squad.